Hello and welcome back for the penultimate time to the Lincoln Loco 2. Today we have got the final game of the season against Aston Villa, and it's the last game ever for the Lincoln Loco 2. The last time we're ever going to manage Lincoln United in a game. There is going to be one more episode after this tomorrow, coming out on Friday, and that is going to be a 10 years in the future episode. It's been heavily requested by you guys for us to sort of resign and go 10 years in the future and see if Lincoln can keep up with things. So we're going to do that tomorrow, but that will be the very final FM19 episode and the very final Lincoln United, Lincoln Loco 2 episode. So it's a sad time, you know, it is a sad time. But we've got plenty of good things to look forward to in FM20. I'll talk more about that in today's episode. But today, Aston Villa await us, and we need to bow out in style. Now, unfortunately, fixtures in between episodes mean that we aren't going to be winning the Premier League title this season. We won 2-1 against Cardiff, Agony and Pelican, getting themselves on the score sheet. But a 2-1 loss to Arsenal confirmed that we wouldn't be winning the title this season. It was also actually confirmed, if I can find them on here somewhere, Tottenham. It was also confirmed by Tottenham winning all their games as well, which was kind of annoying. But they faced Arsenal in the FA Cup final and the Champions League final, Tottenham. So they've had a superb season, as of Arsenal, to be fair. So deserved winners, Tottenham of the league. Hopefully they go on to win the FA Cup and the Champions League as well, because I feel better about that if we lose to the team that wins the FA Cup, the Premier League and the Champions League. I'd feel better about that. Now, potentially we could drop down to 4th in today's episode, but it doesn't really matter. I don't really care at the moment. We're playing Aston Villa, who are in 14th. I don't really care. Today's episode, it's more about reminiscing more than anything else. It's more about reminiscing and remembering the good times. So we're going to jump straight into today's game. This team will do. I suppose we'll talk about it briefly. Solinkia in goal. He's been a superb goalkeeper the past few seasons. Doherty, Juliana, Nesvich, Klaassen, a good backline. Andreas and Agnew have been really good. I've always wanted to improve the midfield, but they've always sort of kept other people out of it. And they've been good enough to not be replaced when we've had limited transfer funds. So they've been quite good. Gustavo, what a player he has been over the past few seasons. Like, wow. He has been really, really instrumental for us, especially last season with his 19 goals and his 23 in all competitions. That was superb. Hart has been revolutionary since coming into the side, and Chisa never really lived up to expectations, but he has been important in getting assists. 11, 10, 15 assists in the league. He's been really, really good. 20 assists in all competitions this season. You can see how impact he has on the side and things like that. And of course, leading the line for us, probably now I might say he's my third favourite striker out of everyone that we've ever had. And we'll talk about the other two strikers who I think I prefer to Bizu. But Bizu, 9 goals in the league this season, 15 overall. Obviously got 32 in the league last season, 35 overall. That was incredible. Not doing quite so well this season. But he's going to leave a line for us to hopefully get 5 goals to take him to 20, which is what I wanted this season. So as kickoff is upon us here today, we're not going to talk about the game much. We're just going to talk about the save and the journey that we've been on. And the very first season that we have brings me to my second favourite striker of the entire series, and that is Connor Robinson. He was instrumental in our first few seasons of getting out of those lower leagues. He scored ridiculous amounts of goals in those first few seasons as well. He was just absolutely incredible, and I think he was overlooked a lot because it happened, you know, he was right at the start. Obviously, we saw so many good things happen since then, and I think he gets overlooked quite a bit. But he's my second favourite striker as Gustavo gets his 10th goal of the season, assisted by Bizu. Good bit of teamwork there, which I'm very pleased with. But it obviously moves me on to my favourite striker, and I don't think I need to announce it really. I think you probably know who my favourite striker is. I think he's also your favourite striker. The bloody stadium's named after him. It's Mark Mason, of course. What a player he was. The thing is, I don't remember him ever having standout seasons like Bizu had or Connor Robinson had, but he was always there consistently, always pulling the strings, always doing stuff, always getting a good amount of goals. Never a huge amount of goals. He never got 30, I don't think, in a season or anything like that, like Robinson and Bizu had done. But he was still a fantastic player, and we love him to pieces. I just can't get over Mark Mason. He's one of my favourite ever strikers, I think, to have ever had. As Andreas gets his 12th goal of the season there, we're looking like we're going to win today's game against Villa. Now, we'll talk about more players and achievements that we've had after this game against Villa, because then we can look at actual stats and things like that. Whilst this game is going on, I want to talk about FM20, which is going to be coming out very soon. We've still not got a release date for it. However, The beta will come out 2 weeks before it, and the game is meant to be coming out early November. The beta usually comes out 2 weeks before, so we're looking at, for the beta at least, second half of October. I'd say probably any time between the 15th and the 25th. That's probably the date they're going to bring it out, I would imagine, at least, with the beta coming out in the first 2 weeks of the actual full game, coming out in the first 2 weeks of November. So that's going to be quite exciting. When the beta comes out, to explore all the new features, Busy grabs a goal there, fantastic. To explore those new features, we're going to be doing Manchester United in the beta. We're going to do one season over that 2 week period, so it's going to be quite a slow progress, just because I feel like I've quite enjoyed doing this season quite slow. I think you guys have liked it as well. It sort of makes sense to do that in the beta as well. Let's try and win a title with Manchester United. We'll try and make a few signings and things like that, explore the new features in depth and go through it slowly. That's kind of what I'm thinking with that particular save. I know a few of you might think, wow, you're doing a Premier League save after you've just done this with Lincoln United. And I know it's a little bit annoying, but at the very start of new FM games, if you do a Premier League side, new people coming to the game automatically look for the Premier League stuff, because it's a big game in England, basically. So you feel like you've sort of forced to do a beta save with an English. I've actually not done a beta save with an English team before, and I feel like I've suffered a little bit from that, seeing other people with English teams get more views and stuff like that. So I do feel like I need to do an English team, and I've not done one yet, and I've never played a game with Man United, so that's the reasoning for picking Manchester United. Oh, we just scored a goal there as well. Chris Hart with his 7th of the season. Great stuff. 4-0. I mean, I'd rather have all 4 goals scored by Bizzy to get to 20, but we'll take 4-0 with 4 different scorers. When we get to the actual release date of the main game, we're going to be moving over to our main save, which will be, a long-term one. And I've sort of released it in drips and drabs to people in different platforms, but I think this is the first time I've said it on YouTube, perhaps. We're going to be managing grasshoppers in Switzerland, which I know sounds a little bit odd, but hear me out, it's a good story. Grasshoppers are the most successful side in Swiss history, apart from in recent years when they have been atrocious, basically. And last season, they got relegated for the first time in 50 or 60 years, something ridiculous like that. So it's going to be a rebuilding project to start off with. And then essentially, I'm just going to try and build the team to be a really good team in Europe. And then to try and use those European performances, that will build the coefficient for Switzerland. That will get more Champions League places, and hopefully the other good clubs like Young Boys Basel, they'll do their bit as well. They'll start to win, and hopefully we'll try and make Switzerland the best league in the world. That's kind of the ultimate aim, more than trying to win a Champions League. Obviously, winning a Champions League is going to be in there as well. But there's going to be 5 key sort of development goals in there to sort of go with this new club ambitions sort of feature that they're bringing in. It's going to try and mix with that a little bit. So we're trying to integrate new features. Our idea is to keep you interested, to keep it engaging. So we've got set ideas to achieve. We want to get promotion, we want to become competitive, we want to get into Europe, we want to win the league, that kind of stuff. They're the sort of goals that we're going to be going for throughout that series. There's going to be a lot of youth development as well, because I really want to maximise youth development, because in this save with Lincoln United, we've had nothing. We've just been rubbish youth development wise, and I've missed it. I've got a whole Football Manager without doing really any youth development. So this next one is going to be heavily influenced by youth development. So that is the plan for FM20 as it stands right now. There's obviously going to be a lot more stuff in there, loads of experiments. December, we're going to do another Wonder Kid Advent Calendar. This time we'll finish it. I promise we'll finish it this time. But there's loads of stuff coming out, so keep your eyes peeled. Click subscribe if you're not already. So much stuff coming out. Either way, we beat Aston Villa 4-0, which is absolutely fantastic. It means we finished second in the table this season, which isn't really bad going, I've got to say. On 77 points, we won the league on less points last season, didn't we? 78 points we got last season, won the league. The amount of points we got this season, 77, would still be enough to win it last season, which is pretty mental. But Tottenham go on to win the league on 83 points. Well deserved. Arsenal, Man United in the Champions League places, with West Ham and Man City in the Europa League places. Good to see Andreas is recognised, and Salinkia as well. They're both selected in Premier League Team of the Year, which I'm really happy with. We've also come runners-up. Salinkia came runners-up in Golden Glove as well. So good season for Salinkia. Very good season for Salinkia, actually. And so we come across to the Lincoln United overall best 11, which I'm interested in. So let's look at this best 11, all right? Let's have a look who's in it. So we'll start with goal. McClement in goal. Now, what a goalkeeper Alex McClement was. We had him back in the Championship days, in the League One days. We had him for a long... to be fair, I forgot about this. We had him for quite a long time, actually. And he was our first choice for a long, long time. Like, he was class. He came straight from the National League, which was quite the step up, you've got to say, from National League to League One to be first choice goalkeeper. But he handled it really, really well and did fantastically well for us before being replaced when we needed to replace him in the Championship. But he was a top quality goalkeeper, to be fair, that went on to play in the Championship in future. So, McClement, hat off to you. Gabriel Turiak at left back then. Down here, Gabriel Turiak, now retired, is now a manager. Imagine if he became the next Lincoln United manager after me. That would be amazing. All we need to do is look at his career stats. Look how long he was with us for. An awful long time. He played with us in the Vanarama National League North and he played with us in the Premier League. He still made Premier League appearances. Not that he was really suited to it, but he made appearances at least. And he can say that he's played in every single level pretty much. So, I mean, he had a superb career before finishing off in Romania. He got a promotion with this Romanian side, actually, which was quite... He got relegated first, but got the promotion as well. So clearly was an integral part of that side in Romania as well. What a player Gabriel Turiak was. The back line, Theo Taverny. I mean, he's all right. I don't have that fond memories of him, really. I mean, he was good for us while it lasted in the Championship. He was never really a Premier League defender. That first season was sort of out of necessity rather than we wanted to play him. Hence why he got the one appearance the next season before moving for £10 million to Stade Rennais. Theo Taverny's a decent player. Brilinger. Now, Brilinger was a good player. I mean, I miss him, obviously. He went on a free to Gremio after his contract expired and he couldn't get a new work permit. But he was a top quality player. He got 7 goals one season. In fact, that season, I think he was the 3rd top goal scorer for us in the Premier League that season, which said a lot about his free kick ability. Jefferson Brilinger had an incredible free kick on him. What is actually his free kick stats? Only 13, so it's not even that good, to be fair, but he scored quite a few of them. And Carl Smith at right back. Now, when did we have Carl Smith? 'Cause I don't ever remember him being a right back. Was he? He's a centre back, so I'm not quite sure why he's playing right back. But we had him back in League One and the Championship days. If I'm being honest with you, it's a name that I don't really remember that well. So he can't have been that good. But if you guys remember him, Carl Smith, there we go. Donker, of course, what a player he was in that CDM position. He deserves his place in the overall best 11. He was superb, to be fair. Well worth the money. Played Premier League season as well. Went and dropped down to League One afterwards, which kind of shows he wasn't really capable of playing in the Premier League. But had a good season for Chesterfield after us as well. He was a good player, Donker. I did like him, actually. He was a good guy. Agni and Andreas in the middle. Now, that just shows how good they are, to be fair. I always wanted to replace them, but they never really came close to being replaced because they always were quite solid performers. So they've always stayed in the side, and they probably do deserve their place there. 3 seasons for Agni, where he's had some pretty good ratings and things like that. And then, of course, Andreas as well. He's been here for 3 seasons too. So they've been a pairing, a solid pairing. Andreas getting very, very good ratings as well. So I'm pretty pleased that these guys have been put in. Luis Gustavo, understandably, is also in the lineup as well. He's been here the past 3 seasons, scoring plenty of goals, plenty of assists, doing all sorts of stuff for us. On the right-hand side is Lee Phillip. Now, I forgot about Lee Phillip. What a man he was. Signed back in the Championship days. And then, obviously, we signed him on loan, didn't we, for a long time. And then we signed him for £2 million. We could have got him on a free transfer. You guys told me for so long that we could have got him on a free transfer, but I didn't want to risk it, so I paid £2 million for him. And it was worth it. He got 11 goals in his first season in the Premier League, which was good. A 26-goal haul one season in the Championship as well was also pretty decent. So, Lee Phillip, I think we can be pretty proud of what we did with him. He was a great player. I think we developed quite nicely. And, of course, we spoke about him earlier, but Mark Mason, now at Hereford United. Wow. What a player he was. Started off in the Vanarama National League North with 28 goals, 27 goals for next season, 22 in League 2, 16 in League 1, and it sort of dropped off quite significantly after those first 4 seasons. But those first 4 seasons, they were superb. And actually, I said earlier, he never got those 30 goals. He got 39 goals. I forgot about that. I thought it was Connor Robinson who got the 39 goals. It was actually Nason with the 39 goals. So actually, that could potentially be the most amount of goals any striker's got in any league season. He just never broke the league scoring record. I think Connor Robinson got like 29 goals in the league and then Bizzo got 32 sort of thing. But you know, Mark Mason, we miss him. That's why the stadium's named after him. He's a top quality striker that we miss. If you sort of patch over those years from, you know, the Championship onwards, even League One onwards, really. Those first 4 seasons were magical. On the bench then is Solinka, which, to be fair, makes sense to me. Solinka, a top-quality goalkeeper, played very well for us, won us a Premier League title. So what can you say? He was terrific. Mark Hunter, another centre-back. He's retired now. We can't really see anything about his history, unfortunately. But he was a centre-back, definitely. Played for a long time for us. Made 149 appearances, 4 goals. He was very, very good. 27 to 31, that was. 27 to 31. If we look at Lee Phillip, when was that? 27 to 30. Oh, that's way before Lee Phillip's time, really. Mark Hunter, he's probably more in the Mark Mason era, or the Gabriel Turek era. We should probably look at that. 27 to 31. So he was a League One and Championship player, Mark Hunter, which was good going to be back in that team. Jack Wakeley, Jack Wakely, sorry. Now that's 23 to 26. Now that's non-league days. Jack Wakely, the fact that he's still in there from a non-league days makes a big impact, to be fair. 23 to 26. If we go on to Turiak, that might tell us, if we look at his career stats. 23, Vanarama National League North. It could actually have been the season before if he joined in 23. So he was a non-league player and probably played into the League One season as well. So that's good from Jack Wakely, to be fair. Oh, how have I forgotten Joe Howell as well? That was the name that I should have mentioned. Again, another player that's retired and we can't see any details from, but he was there from near the start, 21 to 29, a long, long time, 177 appearances, 20 goals. He was always there. I want to see his career history. I really want to see it because he was top quality. He played regularly for us for a long, long time, all the way from non-league, all the way into the Football League pretty much. He was top quality. Gary Langley was a very good winger that we had for a few seasons in the Championship and League One. Got plenty of goals and assists, but in the end, wasn't quite cutting the mustard for us. And we probably should have tried to get a fee for him, but we let him go at the end of the season, I think, on a free transfer, which is a little bit annoying. Cheeset makes it in there as well, which is understandable. We looked at him earlier with assists and stuff like that. He probably deserves it. But finally, Connor Robinson. Again, another player that we can't quite see stats for, but he got 152 appearances, 81 goals in that time, right at the start in the non-league days. And one season he did score 29 league goals, because I remember that was only beaten by Bizu the other season with his 32. So he held the record for an awful long time, Connor Robinson. I mean, I am singing his praises. At the same time, in real life, I do think he is atrocious. He played for Lincoln City. I had the pleasure, we'll say that. I had the pleasure of watching him play for a few seasons. So this says 71 appearances. I don't know how he managed to get that many appearances. As a striker, 8 goals in 71 games. That kind of tells you what you need to know about how he played for Lincoln City. But this is an alternative reality, and 81 goals and 152 appearances, that was top quality. So this is what we've done. It's impressive, to be fair. This is what we've done. So we start here. When we came second in the Evo Stick Northern Premier League Division 1, lost the playoffs, so had to play the same division again the next season. But then we got automatic promotion by winning the league. Now, this third season here in the Evo Stick Northern Premier, that still, in my opinion, is the most difficult season we have ever had. Honestly, that was so tricky that season. I really thought we were going to go back down that season. That's the only time when I've been properly concerned about going back down. And we escaped it in the end, obviously finishing 15th, and next season get promoted via the playoffs. But I thought that was the most difficult season we had. Even the season afterwards, the Vanarama National League North, we finished 18th. I still think that was harder. We obviously rejigged things a lot after that 18th place finish in the National League North. Ended up winning the league the next season, and then winning the playoffs in the National League afterwards, and then had a third successive promotion in a row from League 2 to League 1. Those 3 seasons were incredible. That was Mark Mason. Those 3 promotions would not have happened without Mark Mason. He's the one that made that happen. He steps up every time, scored goals. It was perfect. League 1, we had a bit of a steady start. 18th there, 18th again. So we're a bit of an annoying steady start before really jumping up to 7th, missing out on the playoffs there, I think, just about in League 1. I think we missed out on the playoffs there before coming second the season afterwards, which gave us automatic promotion to the Championship. And our first season in the Championship was surprisingly good. We missed out on the playoffs here in the Championship, definitely. I remember that one. Now, I think 7th place was playoffs in League 1. But in the Championship, we just missed out, and that was really frustrating. I remember that having a great first season before we regressed for next season. We dropped down to the 9th for next season. That's the only time we've actually gone backwards, apart from this season, going from first to second. That's the only time we've gone backwards, actually, out of any of these seasons, which is actually really impressive when you think about it. But after that, we went on to come second in the league and got promoted to the Premier League. And the rest is history. Slowly up to 17th, 11th, missing out annoyingly on Europa League places in 8th and 7th. They were really frustrating seasons before we went on to go and win it, then come second this year and have a time in the Champions League. So along the way, we've won promotion playoffs and things like that, but we have won the Northern Counties Eastern Premier Division, although I'm not quite sure that's me. That could be someone else. We have won the Evo Stick Northern Premier League Division 1 East. Yeah, that was me back then, so that was pretty good. We won the National League North, the FA Trophy, of course, the Checker Trade Trophy, won a Community Shield, we've won a Carabao Cup this season, and of course, the Premier League as well. So just trying to look over a few records then, what's happened. I'm just trying to see anything that's sort of worthwhile. Lowest attendance was 69 people in the Integro Dudson League Cup, which is like a non-league cup, back in 2019, so that was pretty bad. We beat Ponte. I thought this could have been me. That was a bit annoying. Can we look at... No, we can't. The modern day is just all time. I'm going to say I don't remember beating Pontefract Collieries 12-0, but we did. But that was in 1900 apparently, so we can brush over that. But we did have a 5-4 against Hanwell. That's still to this date our highest scoring game back in 2020. Can we click on that? We can't see the details for that anymore, unfortunately. Just a thing with Football Manager. But that was pretty good, wasn't it? High scoring match, high scoring Leeds match, a 5-4. Now, did we win that? It does say away, so maybe we lost it, which is kind of annoying. How have I forgotten Lee Bloody Masters? What a player he was. Played for us for a long time, and we signed him when he was really young on a free transfer. Turns out we had to pay 12k in compensation, which nearly bankrupted us, to be fair. But he came in as like 16 years old, became a homegrown player, and then stayed at the club all this time, just sit on the bench. Because in the Football League, you need a homegrown player on the bench, and he was the only one we had. So that was the reason he stayed so long. He was an unsung hero, kept here against his will until he retired. That was it. I didn't even know this was a thing, to be fair. I had no idea this was a thing. But here you can see, you can go back every single season and look at players. So there's a few players from back in the old days. Matt Cotton, what a player he was. He was quite good. A bit hit and miss, I think. Michael Jacklin, he was really good. Where's Big Kev? Kev, what a man he was. Unfortunately, he had to leave because he couldn't get a work permit and then retired after that. But I love Big Kev. He was a great player in the first few seasons. He was fantastic. And as we sort of moves forward, Ryan Scholes-Beard, he was a great player. Tim Akinola, who I still maintain. Now, I signed him on this. I signed him for Lincoln United on this save about 2 or 3 weeks after I signed him on here. This was right at the start. And I knew at the time, they probably don't watch anymore, but at the time, a few of the players watched, Lincoln United players. I knew the manager watched it as well. I still reckon to this day that Tim Akinola only signed for Lincoln United in real life because I signed him on here. I'm 100% certain on that. Bailey Mummery. Now, that's a name that I remember. I don't know if that's a good name to remember or not, but Bailey Mummery. Stephen Narty, we had to spend a lot of money to get him at the club. He was on a lot of money per week, wages-wise, Stephen Narty. But he was a good defender for us. Really top-quality defender, actually. Joe Coldwood. He was probably one of our first long-term goalkeepers as well. He was a top-quality player. Owen McQuaid was also pretty good. Duncan Idahan, again, he was another defender that we had to pay a lot of money for and was pretty good, actually, I've got to say. So I was quite pleased with him. I think we got him on loan first before signing him permanently. Javon Splatt was a striker. I believe he was a striker. Yeah, he was a striker, and he wasn't a very good one because he never scored that many goals for us, which was really frustrating because he was meant to be the guy that was going to come in and score hatfuls of goals for us. Jed Andrew, what a goalkeeper. Conceded 136 and 111 appearances, probably not the best, but he was a top-quality goalkeeper. We really, really liked him. Spencer Keller as well. He was a good winger who got quite a few goals as well. As you can see, that Jermaine Turner, he was a striker as well. Good player he was. Danny Douglas Hurst, what a player he was. He's still kicking around as a coach. 2 spells with us. He made us so much money by going to Rotherham. That made us so much money, and to get him back on a free transfer a little bit later made it all the much sweeter as well. James Dutton France, I just loved saying that name at the time. I remember that. He was a good player. Jonathan Brown, was he a striker? I think he was a target man, if I remember. I think he was quite tall and a target man. Going forward, again. Mick Atkinson, what an absolute right back. Still going apparently. Fantastic stuff. Had a very long career at lots of different clubs, going for lots of money as well, which is interesting. Joe House at the club at this point as well. Jermaine Belcher, he was top quality as well. And Josh Coley and Tony Russell, they were both wingers, I believe. Yeah, Tony Russell on the right, Coley on the left. They were pretty good on the wing. Obviously scoring quite a few goals this particular season as well. Dan Hape or Dan Happy. We were never quite sure how to say his name. Same with Nankwo. Again, never quite sure how to say his name. We just knew they were in the squad. And they were known as Dan and Joseph, I think, more than anything else. But going forward, again, McClement, goalkeeper. We spoke about him earlier, I believe. Obviously, quite a few more players here actually playing now still. So we can sort of see a bit more about them. James Thornton. He was a good left back. I remember him. He came from the National League side before coming in towards. And actually, how can I forget James Thornton? We got him on loan, and I spent the next 3 seasons trying to sign him permanently, but never could because Lincoln never let him come to us. Anthony Farrell as well. He was a top quality centre-back as well. Really, really liked him. Mel Goff, what a midfielder he was, alongside Richard Smith at the back as well. Stephen Robbins, he was quite a good winger as well. I did like Stephen Robbins. He did quite well for us over that 2-season period. Admir Ramic, now he was the first player we sold for big money. We sold him for 850k. I remember this. That was huge money for us at the time. That was huge. And it made us... We could buy quite a few players of that at the time. That was pretty good. Leon Griffiths was quite good as well. I quite liked him. Peter Butler, good player he was as well. Another striker that we had for a season or so. Got quite a few goals that season, which was quite important for us. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Again, going forward, Ross Burton, he was top quality. And Lee Phillip, this is when he comes in and starts scoring the goals for us. Emmanuel Prince as well. He was pretty decent. He was a good right back. I love this. I just remember everyone as well. That's fantastic. Wayne Higgins, he was a good player as well. He was also the backup right back. I quite liked him. He's done quite well for himself, Wayne Higgins. He's done very well for himself. Fair play, Wayne Higgins, doing quite well, being valued at 7.5 million. And this is when Jason Rendell came into the squad as well. What a player he turned out to be. The next season, he scored 14 goals, with Lee Phillips scoring 28 and Gary Langley on the right scoring 13 goals, which was top quality stuff. Theo Tavernier actually made the most amount of appearances in the 32-33 season, which is massive. With Mitchell Watts also up there, the right back that we had. I think we were quite on the thin side defensively that season, which is why they played quite a bit. Greg Smith, Michael Pomeroy, Lee Phillip, Berlinger. This is when we started to sign the Brazilian players. Now that was huge. Signing those Brazilian players in the first season of the Premier League, that sort of cost us a bit, I think, because I just signed so many of them and loved it. But we had to do it. As you can see here, plenty of Brazilians. Patrick Garana, Jose Pedro, who was a top quality goalkeeper, may I add. He was really good. He kept us in the league. We would have been relegated without him, 100%. And then we get onto these more familiar names in recent years. Juliano, Mirza, Vinicius Junior, Salinkia. Juliano again, Andreas Venturelli, who was a really quality player. I wanted to keep him at the club, but he had to go because of his work permit, which was really frustrating. And you sort of get to recognise these names as we go into the more recent seasons. So that then is... Well, that's that. That is that. I'm a little bit emotional about to do this, but after 21 seasons, it's time, if I can actually find the bloody button, to resign. We're not going to retire because we want to look at some of the stuff later on. So we're going to resign as the Lincoln United manager. Give them all the time in the world to become, good over summer and things like that. But there we go. Lincoln United manager has resigned from his position. The board were quick to pay tribute to their long-serving manager, declaring they were sad to see Tom leave. He enjoyed great success at Lincoln United, lifting 3 league titles and winning 4 cup competitions. In 21 seasons, actually. That's not that good, is it? Like, when you think about it, only 3 league titles and 4 cups. It's not that good. It just shows our reliance on the playoff system and automatic promotions. It shows our reliance on that. What is the best news possible, though, is this bit. Thierry Henry could be tempted to quit as Real Madrid manager to then go to become a Lincoln United manager, whereas Brendan Rodgers could leave Man City and Mark van Bommel could leave Benfica to come to Lincoln. Imagine that in real life. That would just be ridiculous. Apparently, there's been a mass exodus from Lincoln after me deciding to leave the club. Reece Lewis, James Dawson Lund, I always get his name wrong. After 21 seasons, I always get his name wrong. He's been here from 2021 to 2039 as my ever faithful assistant manager. Thank you, James. Daniel Thorpe, John and Chris have also left the club as well. I'm sorry, lads, I don't know who you are, if I'm honest with you. It's only James Dawson-Lund that I know. So the plan now then is to simulate 10 seasons into the future, see what happens, and hopefully Lincoln United will still be at the top. They'll have won more titles, more cups, and maybe a Champions League along the way. All that's left to say, really, is thank you. Thank you to every single one of you who's watched from the very start to the very end. I mean, what a ride. And how it's taken so long as well. Like, we literally started this when FM 19 came out. And I said at the time, I was joking at the time, but I said, this might take us all the way up to FM 20. And it has. What a journey we've been on. And it's finally come to a conclusion now, which is obviously sad, but obviously we've had a great time doing it. And there's plenty more memories to be made in the next story. So, once again, thank you very much for watching. I will see you tomorrow for 10 seasons into the future. So join me for that one. And for one final time, I'll see you next time for some more Lincoln Loco action.